At 56, gospel singer Sinach, the powerful voice behind Waymaker, had never imagined that her name would be caught in such a storm of rumors, whispers, and pain. For years, she was known as the woman who brought hope to millions through her songs. Her music played in churches, hospitals, and homes all around the world. But destiny took an unexpected turn. You won't believe how quickly things changed. After months of complete silence, her husband finally spoke, and what he said left the entire gospel world in shock. Sinach had always been seen as a woman of deep faith and strength. Her songs like Waymaker, I Know Who I Am, and The Name of Jesus had become global anthems. People admired her not just for her voice, but for her unshakable devotion to God. For over 2 decades, she stood on stages across continents, singing with passion and spreading hope. Everyone saw the light, the joy in the faith. But behind that light, a quiet storm had been building, one that few could have guessed. Let me tell you, this is how everything started to fall apart slowly. It began with small things. Fewer pictures with her husband, Pastor Joseph Egbu, started to appear online. Their once loving social media posts faded away. People noticed that they weren't seen together as often as before. Some said maybe they were just busy. Others whispered that something was wrong. But here's the shocking part. Like the couple who had always seemed so strong suddenly appeared distant, almost strangers in public. Still, neither of them said a single word. They smiled when needed, performed when expected. But something had changed. For months, the silence only made people more curious. What was really going on behind those perfect smiles? This is where it gets interesting. Sinach had always been private about her marriage. She rarely talked about her personal life, choosing instead to focus on her calling. But rumors kept spreading and fans started asking questions. Was there tension between them? Were they struggling with fame? Or was it something deeper, something spiritual? You won't believe what happened next. After holding back for so long, Pastor Joseph finally broke his silence. His statement came out of nowhere and left everyone stunned. What makes this story different is that his words didn't sound like anger or accusation. They sounded like pain. Deep, honest pain. He spoke about the challenges of being married to someone whose life was constantly in the spotlight. He admitted that fame had changed things between them. The more her ministry grew, the lonelier he felt. He said that while the world was celebrating Synac's success behind closed doors, their marriage was quietly breaking. But here's the shocking part. His confession wasn't about jealousy or resentment. It was about the silent battles that no one talks about. The world saw a perfect Christian couple, but inside both of them were struggling to hold everything together. Pastor Joseph admitted that he had made mistakes, that he had allowed distance to grow between them, and that sometimes faith felt heavy instead of comforting. His words shook the gospel community. People didn't know whether to feel sorry, angry, or confused. Still, there was something raw and real in what he said. He shared how difficult it was to stand beside someone who was loved by millions while feeling unseen. He said, "Ministry can take more from you than it gives back if you forget who you are at home." That one line went viral overnight. People started discussing it everywhere in churches, on social media, in gospel forums. Some praised his honesty, saying it was brave for a pastor to admit his struggles. Others said he had embarrassed his wife publicly. Let me tell you, this is how quickly everything changed. The perfect image people had of Sinach and her husband began to crack. The church community, which once saw them as a symbol of faith and unity, was now divided. Some stood with Sinach, saying she didn't deserve the public pain. Others said Joseph had done the right thing by speaking the truth. But the craziest part was that Sinach herself stayed completely silent. No statements, no interviews, nothing. She didn't say a single word about the controversy. People waited for her reaction, hoping she would defend herself or explain what was happening. But Sinach chose silence, and her silence was louder than anything her husband had said. The entire world watched, wondering what her next move would be. Was she heartbroken? Was she angry? Or was she quietly preparing for something greater? One thing was clear. Whatever happened next would change everything people thought they knew about her. After her husband's confession, the internet exploded with opinions. Everyone wanted to know what Sinach would say, but she remained completely silent. That silence started to speak louder than words. Some fans said she was heartbroken. Others believed she was just praying for strength. But here is the shocking part. While people were busy gossiping online, Sinach was quietly going through one of the most emotional seasons of her life. Behind the calm surface, she was deeply hurt, not only by what her husband confessed, but by the way it became public before she was ready to face it. For someone who had always protected her private life, that moment felt like betrayal. Let me tell you, this is how the story took a deeper turn. Sinach stopped appearing in events for a short while. She canceled some ministry trips and chose to stay away from the spotlight. People thought she was hiding, but those close to her said she was spending time alone, praying, and seeking peace. She didn't want to react out of pain or anger. She wanted to respond with wisdom. Days turned into weeks, and the world kept waiting for her to speak. Every gospel page, every blog, every YouTube channel talked about the same thing. What will sin say? But she said nothing. And then one quiet Sunday morning, she finally broke her silence. Not through words, but through worship. She posted a short video on Instagram, a simple piano melody, and her soft voice singing a few lines. The caption said only 3 words: "He is still faithful."